Hi everybody. My name is Jerry Wise, and I want to talk about 6 toxic values or beliefs of a toxic family system. These are not all the toxic beliefs there are, but these are 6 of the, I think, common ones and what I run into so frequently in working with folks who came from dysfunctional families. If you've had a dysfunctional family, I hope you'll take a look at the program I have listed below in the description, the online program of 6 modules. Also, there's a free training down there as well if you want to take a look at that. And that doesn't cost you anything. It's about 84 minutes, and you might benefit from that. So value or belief number 1 is boundaries are for uncaring or cold families. In other words, if you set boundaries, you're being mean. Or if you set boundaries, you're offending somebody. If you set boundaries, you're accusing somebody or shaming somebody. And that's often how dysfunctional or toxic families react to boundaries. And that's one of the toxic beliefs that dysfunctional families have, is that boundaries are not loving. They are a way to not love or not be connected in some way. But of course, that's a false belief, and it's an unhealthy belief. Number 2, respect your elders, even if they don't respect you. Now, I know many people, we could go into all the, I was a pastor and a bishop for many years. We could go into all the religious, honor your father and your mother, of the 10 Commandments, but then also there are many other verses that talk about parents' responsibility to their children. So the only verse in the Old or New Testament is not just that one that's in the 10 Commandments, which is honor your father and your mother. That was done within a whole social context of who they were honoring: the elders, the prophets, the law, and many parents don't do any of that today. So there was a whole context to that commandment. And I think there are other verses to consider. Also, there is a sense in which you're supposed to respect your elders even if they don't respect you. They don't have an obligation to respect you. And I don't find that anywhere in the Bible or anywhere else where parents don't have an obligation to respect their children and to value them. I don't find that anyplace. So again, I think respecting your parents or your families or your older siblings when they don't respect you is using normal rules for an abnormal family. And that's always very dangerous when you use normal rules for abnormal families. And I teach people to avoid that. You have to use abnormal rules. Again, do I think it's good to respect elders? Do I think it's good to respect your family and parents? And absolutely, I think that's good. But what if they are malignant narcissists? Then, again, we can respect them. I mean, you put that in quotes, but that doesn't mean I would use the normal rules for respect for them, because usually that will end up meaning I'm going to get abused, is really what it ends up. The result is being abused if you use that. Number 3, shaming and fear are the easiest and best ways to be assertive. That's in parent relationships, other relationships. It's the best way to lead, to parent, to control others. In other words, shaming works. That's a value or belief of a dysfunctional or toxic family. And again, shaming and fear are the way you're supposed to relate to other people, and particularly those that are your children or your offsprings. And also it runs throughout the whole toxic family. And so shame is a big part of our society, unfortunately. You can parent using shame. You can teach as a teacher using shame. You can pastor and do homilies and sermons using shame. You can be a doctor and be shaming. You can be a coach. You can be parent. You can be all kinds of person in authority. And shaming is so common, unfortunately. because it's a part of our immature self, and it's a part of the super self that we're a part of that makes that feel normal to us. And that's why it's so common. Take a look at my online program and you'll see how to disconnect from that, and also to fortify yourself against that, because shaming is so common. Number 4, emotional enmeshment equals feeling loved. If we're enmeshed, that means we love each other. And that's a common belief for toxic and dysfunctional families, because it feels so normal to do that. And if we're not enmeshed, then we must not care about each other. So detachment or distance or healthy respect and distance is not valued in a toxic family because it doesn't feel loving, ooey gooey. We're all oceanic with each other. But that's not a healthy way to relate. That's not even healthy love, is enmeshment. Number 5, family business is nobody else's business. The old don't ask, don't tell. No one should ask me, and I should not tell them if there are issues in the family. I don't know how many adult children of alcoholics, for example, were trained and taught, never talk to anyone about your dad's alcoholism. That's for us in the family. That's not for anyone else. And if you tell someone else dad has a drinking problem, you're shaming dad. And see, that's not an appropriate use of shaming. Can we shame an alcoholic, addict, narcissist? Sure, we can shame anybody for any problem. I was shamed growing up for having glasses. Oh, well, you're 4 eyes. And so you can be shamed about anything. Or someone might just mention, oh, I see you have glasses and you do wear glasses. That's not shaming. No different than saying, hey, my father, yes, is an alcoholic. And that was problematic and has been problematic. I don't say that to shame him. I say that because it's true. And, the family would like to keep that all a secret for so many families. Number 6, going through a learning curve or making mistakes demonstrates your inadequacy. In other words, in a family, there's not a sense of developmental growth, developmental awareness, learning over time, experimenting. No, it's that you're thrown into the water. If you don't swim, you're shamed. You're thrown into the water. If you swim a little bit, you're shamed. If you're thrown into the water and you begin swimming, you're the golden child. That's kind of the way of looking at learning curves, making mistakes, and those kinds of things in toxic families. And that's something we can grow out of. We can accept that for ourselves. In my program, on the online program, I talk about the importance of giving yourself a chance to learn. We all need to learn, and we weren't given that freedom to just learn or try or not do it so well. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly because it's still worth doing. And it's okay if we do it poorly, because if we keep doing it poorly, we might start doing it better. And in fact, that's how I started doing all my videos. I was worried about, well, what would I look like? What would people think? I'm not going to say the right words. And then I thought anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. And I thought the things I needed to share were worth sharing. If I'm this kind of not a great speaker or a great relayer of the information, it's still worth doing. And then I got a little better at it because I practiced that. So I think it's important that we learn to learn. And toxic families don't allow the learning. You either need to be there or not. You either need to be a mini adult, or you're shamed or rejected or criticized. So what is normal? What is healthy? I discuss in my online program. I would suggest you take a look at that. And also ways to overcome these toxic beliefs. I hope you found this video helpful. I want to introduce you to my new step-by-step program designed to help you break free from the toxic relationship dynamics in your family, to heal your relationships, and build the real self you were never allowed to have. I personally wish I would have had access to a program like this early in my own journey. This program is an investment in yourself, your relationships, your healing, and your life. To learn more about the program, click on the program link below provided in the description. I truly believe it will have a profound effect on your life.